Team ban.
Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to a Premier League presentation. We're going to be bringing you guys a game between Fnatic and Quantic as the third and fourth decider. These two teams have battled it out, have taken all of their opponents down except for one, Fnatic being locked down by Alliance, and Quantic just having lost the game to Mousesports. They're now meeting each other here to see who's going to be taking the points away. Of course, third and fourth both require some points towards the points for the Premier Cup, but obviously, a lot more value in the 50 than the 18. So, going on into it, we're going to see, starting off, the Fnatic banning out the Wisp, and the Team Quantic going to be banning out the Lone Druid. So, interesting start. Should be an interesting game. Thank you guys so much for tuning on in. I'm myself, M. Blaze. Here's Triumph. What's up?
Yeah, I'm just looking... excuse me. Jesus Christ, it's cold. Just looking at the standings, Quantic currently sit on 54 points. Fnatic are on 50 points. They need to get into fourth place to guarantee a spot, or basically to make sure they get a spot in the playoffs. And currently sitting in their way is Virtus Pro on 100 points. Now, Virtus Pro got knocked out in round 1 tonight, so they won't be earning any points for tonight. Now, third place is 30 points, fourth place is 18 points, and both these teams honestly needed at least a second tonight to really put them in a comfortable position going to the next couple of rounds, but 30 points is better than I think, and this is really going to help them out coming over the next couple of cups. We've got 2 more cups after this before the Super Cup, and both these teams need to win as many points as possible. It's very imperative for them. But Fnatic are going to open up with the Keeper of Light versus the Bane. You know what, the Bane is damn good, regardless. He's really, really powerful lately. But the Keeper of Light at the same time gives him a lot of options in terms of push and as well as aggression.
Yeah. I mean, both of them having their own benefits. We have seen times where Quantic would draft the Bane and Keeper Light together as much as possible. In this situation, they won't get the opportunity. Fnatic snagging up Ezreal for themselves, which will be picked up by Fly, as he normally does. And that leaves a more dynamic, maybe micro-intensive, maybe disabling and initiating support for No Tail. Anyways, whatever we have in store for us right now, they're going to have a very powerful tri-lane. Keeper Light just going to be able to make sure their Illuminates work on out. Now, Quantic was actually talking about a draft in the chat itself, mentioning both Bane and Crystal Maiden, as well as a couple other heroes, so I'll see if that's actually going to... there's some mind games going on where he actually, literally told them their draft. But, curious to see. Either way, Bane, here, Crystal Man, I'm trying to remember the rest of it. It was just, Clinks, random stuff. I don't know. But, either way, Crystal Maiden, a fun little hero, has a lot of potential. Right now, they're rocking the disables. Frostbite, Nova, a Nightmare, and Fiend's Grip. So much potential to lock people down. But they are up against a Naga Siren, who is, been coming more into her own, as far as having a high potential to lock people down with Ensnare, as well as dish out a ton of damage with the Riptide and Illusions. So we'll see how it comes into play here, if they're going to run it mid or as a carry, but either way it's going to be a very effective lane.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the line. I mean, Crystal Maiden, I think the only real reason right now to pick her up is, to be honest, you've got a very mana-intensive hero that sort of struggles to be aggressive in the lane just due to mana issues, so we'll see what they decide to go with it. I just don't know whether or not... I mean, Crystal Maiden, she's got some issues. Like, Frostbite is a nice spell, but the problem is, in a trial versus trial situation, or where you're going to be fighting a lot, the problem is it's not a full-on stun, which means, say you Frostbite a support hero, they can still rip a stun run into you, and in a trial versus trial situation, you're quite happy to trade support kills, left, right, and center, as long as those carriers are leeching those experience, getting that money, and putting them in a good position. The Crystal Nova is nice, but I really feel like if you're going for trial versus trial, unless you imperatively need that aura, I think there are stronger choices. I feel like Lina, to be honest, is a better choice. Like, the other big issue with Crystal Maiden spells is they're long cooldowns. 10 seconds and 15 seconds. That's a lot of time to wait for your spells to come back up. Whereas if you pick something Lina, both her spells are under 10-second cooldown, so you can rip out those spells very quickly and very frequently. And then when you're up against stuff like Nakes, he doesn't give a crap if you frostbite him. He just freaking turns on his... He just turns on his... he just turns on his rage and off he goes. Now, this might be a reason. Slark. If you want to be aggressive non-stop with Slark after level 6, you can. With Aura, it means he doesn't have to worry about mana at all, and obviously he has massive health regen when he's off the grid, so there is that. I mean, maybe that's why they decided to draft the Slark. Draft a Crystal Maiden to go with the Slark, and possibly might even see something like a Sven get tossed in later. We'll see. Yeah. It really depends where they put the Slark.
Well, according to the chat log, it's going to be Clinks and Weaver coming in next. I highly doubt that, but that's literally of the 5 heroes he listed, 3 of them are already put up here, so it would be really interesting to see them go ahead and list out exactly what they're gonna. I mean, I can't even think about what would be going through Fnatic's head, especially when it comes down to that 5th pick, because you're like, are they like if they pick 4 here? Oh, they pick up Weave for themselves. So that's fun, little back and forth.
I mean, it's basically it's Ruth Babe calling a shot, except obviously now Fnatic's ruined it. But maybe that's the next level of disrespect or sort of trolling in professional Dota is to call your lineup beforehand and say this is what we're doing. Watch us, go and counterpick it. Go and counterpick it. See what we do to you.
So, interesting. But to start things off, they have a pretty solid laning composition with Bane and CM going for supportive potential. Slark will most likely be going up on the mid, getting a lot of ganks off as soon as he gets that ultimate rolling. As far as what he's up against, it's not the best hero. I mean, he will be able to avoid a lot of difficult things, but he's not going to be able to play as aggressive as he'd like to, because there is still the ensnare potential. As far as dispelling that, I think no dice on the death pack. You can correct me if I'm wrong, dark pack, but I cannot recall that being dispellable by that specific ability. Either way, Illuminate still does a lot of damage. The lifestealer can still munch on top of them, and all they have to do is make sure they have vision. So Fnatic needs to pick up a very item-independent support for No Tail. I played Vengeful Spirit earlier. That was great. Oh gosh, they really did it. That's hilarious.
Wow, really? Well, I mean, this is nothing wrong with Clinks, to be honest. I mean, as we've seen in previous TPLs, the fact that players like Fnatic and I think it was Fnatic would run the solo Clinks, and it's really brutal. Clinks farms pretty well, especially if you're a 1v1 mid. I mean, if you're throwing him in the mid lane, he's pretty hard to shut down. And if he gets the fast Orchid, he's lethal. He's absolutely lethal. And if he gets the fast Orchid and you get the Slark farmed up, suddenly you have this hyper-aggressive invisible lineup that's charging around the map, completely and utterly causing all sorts of havoc. And you can never expect when Clinks is going to pop out behind you and cause, and just basically destroy you with the Orchid. Slark jumps in, there's all sorts of havoc that can cause, and it puts so much pressure on the opposing supports to try and keep everything warded up, and basically keep everything warded up and keep everything locked down so you can't get surprised all the time, and that really slows down their ability to get stuff like fast mech, fast pipe, or even getting simple stuff like an urn. And Crystal Mane, I can see why they want a Crystal Mane, because Clinks obviously has a few mana issues if he tries to spam the Windwalk to get around, or even Searing Arrows and strafe. Like, it does burn into his mana pool quite a bit, but if you've got a few levels, like even 2 or 1 levels in Aura, it really does help him out quite a bit.
So that'll be pretty interesting. I presume it's going to be an offlane Clinks. I mean, that just makes the most sense, given his mobility and invisibility. But we have seen, in general, in the Russian metagame, when he was most popular, he was actually very commonly picked up as just a safe lane hero who would rush an Orchid out. And so that's kind of what we saw earlier today when Silent was playing the Batrider and rushed out a Blink, is just to get that hard ganking utility up and kicking immediately. But as far as Bane and CM in a tri-lane, up against something like a Keeper of Light, it could be very, very difficult for them. So they could go for 3-1-1 with aggressive try and set it up so that Clinks can guarantee a very, very well-timed Orchid. But honestly, it's going to be exposing themselves quite a bit, especially Crystal Maiden with such low base movement speed. Not very much room to work around with.
Yeah, I mean, she can really easily... I mean, if they go aggressive try and go up against something Lifestealer and then Naga Siren and then another hero, she can very easily be caught out. It's very hard to position. Obviously, not Frostbite, Crystal Nova has good range on it, but I don't think they really want to try and take an aggressive try against the Lifestealer who can just completely ignore all of her shenanigans.
Yeah.
And it would really be quite problematic. So, I mean, you get stunned, she's gone. I mean, the Magic Missile, she's just the weak link. They're so easy to pick up. I think if they're running a try, it'll be defensive more than anything else. And it really depends. I mean, if they wanted to, their last pick could be a jungler, especially since Weaver's missing now as well. They have to pick something else. But they could pick a jungler, have Slark take the defensive trial, or Clinks take the defensive trial, and then either Slark or Clinks take the solo mid. I think Clinks would be the better option for the solo mid because Slark has better kill potential, because you can quite easily set him up for his pounce and his nuke with Crystal Maiden and Bane.
One thing I want to mention real quick is that Batrider, which has been first pick material almost every single game today, did not even get mentioned in this drafting phase. He didn't get banned, he didn't get picked, nothing along those lines. What do you think about that?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, Bat's a good hero, but as we've seen, he's not the be-all, end-all. I mean, he's definitely a good hero, but you can quite easily bypass him if you have something in mind. And obviously, Quantic, they had their heart set on something else, so their draft is all the way over there. And not necessarily, I mean, he's not necessarily, if you're building a huge team fight oriented lineup, like if you're trying to set things up with Nagastar. That said, Fnatic haven't really gone for that route. I mean, you can set up obviously the Illuminate, but if you've already got the Nagastar, you don't really that badly need the Batrider's lockdown, because you can literally walk into a fight and lock everybody down with Song of the Siren and get down the stuns that you need if you want to. Although that said, they didn't pick. I really question the Weaver pick. I'm not sure about that, to be honest. That's the weird pick, I think, for that. But yeah, I mean, you can literally just have Nagastar and walk in, lock somebody down, and then obliterate them with your mass nukes. But their issue here, I feel like the Weaver should have been something that had like more nuke to it. Like, they've got the setup here, they've got the Illuminate that can come through, but then they just don't quite have the follow-up there. And there we go, the Batrider even picked. I feel like this would be a Clinks mid, defensive trial and Batrider jungle, or maybe offlane him. I mean, you could offlane him, but I feel like the jungle would be a better option here than trying to offlane him against the net, the Lifestealer,
you don't want to do
and
that.
the Vengeful Spirit. Yeah, that'd be a bit brutal.
So yeah, probably opting for the jungle. I guess we could be looking at a 3.510 setup. That will be kind of a limiting factor, or it could be a 2.51 goes on the offlane. But one way or another, they have enough heroes with escapable mechanics that they can make sure the laning phase will go smoothly. The question then is what they do with that time. They go in, 20 minutes in, they're all at a good level, have one core item set up, and then how much pressure do they put out? And the intention with a gank-oriented lineup such as this is to get Tranquil Boots up on CM so she can keep up with the pack, and then everybody else just jumps in and does their thing. Gank, gank, gank. Go invis, jump on through, know where the wards are with Funzi's ultimate's passive, and then based on that, outmaneuver, and surprise attack. So that has a lot of potential there. But for right now, we're going to see down on bottom that Trixie is going to be running the Naga Siren alongside Era and his Lifestealer. So that is going to be a supportive Naga, go an aggressive try, and they're going to leave the Weaver to farm safe lane. Honey going currently towards bottom as all 5 are, but he does have 3 tangos, 3 branches.
I don't think it's going to be supportive. No, I think this is aggressive, trialing with Trixie as the primary farmer and Aerosol and mids again. I think. I think that's what they're doing, because, I mean, if they don't do that, that means either Fly solos, they Fly or No Tail are soloing, if they have Trixie as a support as well. Which would be a bit weird.
One thing is that Era's Lifestealer versus the Slurko Funzi, I really don't see that as a great matchup. He's been pooled regen, of course. Generally speaking, you want to get your poor man shield up immediately for Funzi. So he does that, buys an extra branch, and then he gets pulled the rest of the regen. In this position here, that means that Funzi, going a single point in Essence Shift, can always trade hits with a Lifestealer, because the Feast isn't going to be that relevant, so not early on anyways. That would mean to me that it's actually going to be very dangerous if they try to go for Lifestealer. Oh my gosh. Fucking mad. Goes in and does the CM taunt right in front of the tier 2, or tier 1 of the Fnatic's mid. Like, what is that about? He's just having fun.
Okay, here we go. No Tail and Fly about to... Oh, I don't know. Did Rise see them is the question. There's a bit of ping going on. Yeah, they must have seen them. They have to have seen them there. They know something's up. They don't have the high ground vision. They're really worried about moving up. Their Rise is going to be the man up. Going to go up first. Doesn't see anybody yet, though. Actually, no, I think he saw Trixie. Trixie that finds a haste. They know they've got to get the hell out now. No Tail's going to move in. They've got Net up as well. This is a Crystal Main who is free food coming right up here. This should be a pretty easy kill, I think, unless we can get a Nightmare. Bane hasn't actually skilled anything yet. I think he needs to throw on a Nightmare. Decides not to. And Crystal Men will actually get away. They don't actually come in with the Illuminate, which is odd. I felt like they really could have charged up the Illuminate there to finish.
The body blocks would have had to be very, very effective. I mean, he does have a haste rune, so he would always have the movement advantage. But actually going in another Magic Missile, there comes that Illuminate you're talking about. Right clicks will come on through, but not enough to finish off fucking Mad with this Nightmare coming onto No Tail. So exhausting a lot of their mana and a lot of fucking Mad's health. But for the moment, they still survive, and the first blood is still on the table.
Yeah, I really feel like they could have got the Illuminate off, just because, I mean, it's a short charge time at level 1. It's only 2 seconds, so, I mean, you've got the net and the stun, the Magic Missile to set up, so I feel like they could have done that. But anyway, regardless, they're just going to roll around here, and this, I think, is a problem, because the issue is here, their harass is not even half as good as what Quantic have, and the fact that they can really get aggressive with their spells, they can spam non-stop, and right from the get-go, whereas Keeper Light, not as much.
So
Not nearly
Silent
as much.
up on top is actually taking a lot of right-click harassment from Era. It's interesting combo. Right now he doesn't have Rage because he's only level 2. They're actually seeing some DCs come on across. But yeah, because the Nyx doesn't have his 3rd level, he doesn't have Rage, so he has to watch out for this 3rd Napalm stack. But in general, he can deliver quite a bit of harassment since Batrider is still only at a very reduced movement speed when the open wounds comes across. So Silent comes in for CS or for Napalm harass. Eric can turn around on him pretty effectively. When he hits level 3, he might be once again scaring away a Batrider. That it's a matchup that I haven't really looked at too thoroughly, but we saw it earlier today, and that Batrider had actually a pretty rough time and used the bottle multiple times over in order just to hold against a single lifestealer. So interesting to see. Top lane, for that reason, I think we'll go the way of Era. Down on bottom is going to be the big question.
Yeah, it's gonna be, I like the fact they rotated Arrow away from them, and I do agree the fact that trying to send him against Slark would be a bit rough. That said, I mean, up against the Batrider, obviously almost is irritating up there, is a little bit better off, but I mean, Batrider's just going to get more annoying as the sticky napalm start to stack up. And I mean, there's only going to be so many times he can try and rage through it, especially since he won't have access to the bottle and the runes as easily to try and keep himself up there, so we'll see. Hanny, on the other hand, going to fare a lot better, I feel, against a Slark, unless he gets pinned down. I mean, you get off, because the thing is, Slark's going to be able to harass him pretty heavily, especially once he gets Dark Pack. If he lands a pounce, and the fact that he can pounce frequently, there we go, see, there's the pounce. Once he gets Dark Pack, that's going to be a lot of damage and frequently, and Hanny's not really going to be able to tank it all that easily.
He's going to get a bottle, though, so that'll help a little bit here. But Slark can continue to max that out, and that's going to be very frustrating. If just casually a dust flies out on the courier, that could be an opportunity for Funzy to just completely catch Tony off guard.
Indeed, we'll see. We will see indeed. But now Trixie in the bottom. I'm just looking at his farm right now. 7 and 0 versus 9 and 1 there for Clinks. And this is going to get nastier as Clinks. He does so much damage with those searing arrows. And unfortunately, I mean, they've already started to rotate the supports away. Vengeful Spirit has barely leveled at all. She's got 13 experience to her name, still stuck at level 1. This, I think, is really going to hurt them, this offensive trial, which is not going to do it at once. There's just no real way for them to get aggressive against this line. I mean, Clinks is just bloody hard to catch. Crystal Maiden, I think, is the one that they want to go after, but when you've got Bane there, Clinks who does tons of damage, and Crystal Maiden can throw out her own nukes, I think it's really dangerous for them to get aggressive when you've got stuff like Kiva who's so squishy.
Most definitely. So
maybe if they can land a good net and stuff, they can, like, just capitalize the fact that Crystal Maiden's almost as squishy, but I mean, she's hanging back, she's playing smart, and the fact that they don't have to get too close to cover Clinks, because Clinks has got his good range. That said, stun on Rise there. Rise trying to back up, net comes out, there we go, Illuminate coming through as well. Is he going to try and time this? No, he will get cleaned up. There's the first blood, and this is where they get caught out. I mean, that's exactly what they need, but I mean, they should be, crashes. But I mean, he should have been playing more like Crystal Maiden there, just hanging back and letting Clinks use his range, rather than getting in close and dirty to the opponents.
Yeah, at this state, Fnatic is feeling pretty good about themselves. They have done some really cool warding the past couple of times around. The double ward, putting one to the west and one to the south, generally speaking. What it means is that they have to be perfectly on point with their sentries, and they indeed have. They put one down bottom here, and they put one up just north of these trees, but yeah, with that reduced sentry ward vision, it's harder to get that pull available. So only just now about to spawn the pull camp at this 3-minute mark, and that's something that Quantic has really needed, because the control is in Fnatic's hands. I mean, yeah, maybe they could have illuminated down the neutrals and stuff like that and still gotten something out of it, but in general, when it comes down to on the lane action, Naga Siren is almost matching the Clinks, 12 for 0 compared to his 13 to 1, and now they have the first blood in their hands, and it's going to get better and better for Fnatic in this tri lane.
It will get better. We'll see whether or not it can keep translating out. That said, I mean, the thing is, Slark's going to hit level 6, and when he hits levels, the thing is, like, they're going to be able to rotate. The Radiant side are going to be able to rotate and put pressure on this Trilane and basically free up the Trilane a lot easier. Whereas Weaver, no, needs to farm. Era, no, still needs to farm. So this is my problem here. The fact that Batrider and Slark can rotate very easily and cause tons of damage. And I think this is something that might, sort of carry into the mid game, is that Quantic have the real ability to snowball completely out of control. And once this Trilane gets crushed, I mean, Naga Siren is going to be painful for her to recover from that. It's going to come because she's not farming that quick. She's not like spiraling out of control here.
We're going to see on top lane, Silent's going to have to go a little bit off the grid here. He does the Napalm up in one stack, but in general, Era's just in a happy position to right-click on top of him, and so Batrider, he has Firefly active, he feels confident, but still it's kind of back and forth for them. We see yet another crash, another disconnect. Unfortunate, whatever's going on at the Fnatic Gamehouse is not working out for them right now. So they're crashing a lot, they're disconnecting a lot, whatever. Hopefully they can fix it, and we'll be underway with the game in full. But for right now, just looking at the matchups, we do see that Silent has overcome Nick's CS considerably. 6 CS advantage, or 6 creep kill advantage, and then 4 denies as well. But he has been harassed back quite a bit. Is running on an empty bottle, and is not going to get that crowd anytime soon. So this should be him retreating in just a moment. Either way, beyond that, back and forth between Hani and Funzy on the mid. I figured that Weaver would be doing better on this lane than he actually is, taking a couple of Essence Shift auto attacks, but the ending CS is Funzy finding 20 and 6, whereas Weaver is sitting at 14 and 2. But the best part about Slark's presence here is something that you mentioned about the ease of rotation. Level 6, level 7, Slark is immediately on the prowl. He is going to be full HP, moving very, very swiftly towards whatever target he may choose, and honestly, with the armor of Keeper Light being only 1, he could be a very easy target very, very quickly, and I'm not sure if Fnatic have the tools to deal with a 4 versus 3.
I honestly don't think they do. It'll be really, really crippling for them if he rotates and just pummels them. Especially since his primary target's really under. The bigger thing is he'll just be so on the level it's not funny. Slark does check out the top room, doesn't find anything though. It is going to be a double damage bottom, which they should leave for Weaver in a second. That's definitely going to be a pretty annoying blow for Slark to have to deal with, and he's in fact going to just courier the bottle back to base just to refill it there. Now Weaver going to find himself a double damage. Is he going to try and take advantage of the bottom lane? It looks like he's not going to bother. I mean, yeah, they don't have any detection yet as far as I can tell, so they're not going to be able to kill off. They're not going to be able to kill off Clinks with any great ease. They just don't have the stun locked down there for it to be effective. So it looks like there we go, Slark pouncing away. He's going to jump out. I think it's probably the right choice there. He was going to be up against double damage Weaver, which really, really would have stung that said bottom lane. Looks like they're trying to contest the pull, which I mean they can do pretty easily. They would keep the light, and so there we go. Just going to send the Illuminates through. Just going to steal those creep as much as they can. That said, still need to be careful though. I mean they can get jumped in there. They really need to watch out. The same goes for the Radiant supports. I mean, both these supports really, really super squishy, so they're going to be very, very careful.
Oh, top lane.
Though.
Oh, back and forth right here. Silent takes 2 auto attacks from the tower. That might be enough, but he is sitting on 6 napalm charges and cannot actually survive going in any deeper. So he's just going to hide in his jungle, blocking up with the stout shield so the creeps can't finish him off. But yeah, that was close for both of them. Luckily, he's the one with the salve. Batrider, nothing available, is going to have to go all the way back to base and heal on up, while Lifestealer can just invest in a single creep and be back up to snuff if necessary and let the salve do its work otherwise. But we do see on bottom lane things getting pretty close. They're going to go for the Nightmare here onto Trixie and set it up. Yeah, there's the Frostbite. There's going to be a lot of auto attacks coming across. Trixie is getting nuked down pretty hard. 120 HP, salves up, and is going to be able to get on out of there no problem. No Tail getting plenty of mana at his disposal, can just keep on spamming out those stuns. But Trixie getting his salve knocked off means he's going to be sitting on half HP with the Ring of Health having the job of bringing him back up to top.
See, I mean, that's what I mean. You get frostbitten and you just throw out your spells. I mean, that was it. Had that not happened, Bane could have kept chasing, could have popped his magic stick and brain sapped again. That would have been the end of Naga. But as it was, well, just throws out the net. I mean, he picked the right target, he threw the net down there, stopped Bane from chasing him, so it was a smart choice.
But yet again, the rune comes down for Hani, so Weaver's going to be in a good position here on the mid lane on Slark, but he's actually going to go for our gank, something we didn't expect to happen very early on, but what a fortuitous rune for it. Oh, the courier, its haste is about to expire in 5 seconds, goes for the trees, will be able to just barely break line of sight, but is going to have to juke like a boss in order to get out of there. No, the right click comes through, and the Geminate will finish it if necessary. Now, they lost their courier. As far as what was on it, it does have wards, and that's unfortunate for Rise, who just recently picked them up. And now, chasing down Funzy on the mid lane. If he didn't have his ultimate, I feel that Hani would have been trying to go for the kill. Either way, though, up on top, we do see, trading back and forth once again, Air and Silent. That Phase Boots Orb of Venom, movement speed advantage, allowing him to stay active, but has to watch himself against that Napalm Lasso.
So Slark, I mean, this is all the harass comes to naught now. Slark already healing up massively. That harass that Weaver's dealing, that's absolutely nothing. Question is whether or not I think Batrider's going to be able to find a kill here on Era. Era needs to be careful. If he overextends it into the Firefly and then gets Lasso, that could be the end of him. Now Silent going to be very clever using the cliff to his advantage there. Decides not to pursue. I think that's the right choice. The Era is a little bit too tanky to try and bring down.
Going to Trixie on the bottom.
I mean, if
they got the Nightmare on Trixie. They're going to have to A-click him. Yeah, they're going to wake him up with the Keeper Light. They're throwing out a snare on top of Bane, doing a lot of damage here, and it should be enough for Hani to finish it off. But Slark is here as well, trying to actually finish off on the Vengeful Spirit instead, just taking a lot of harassment here. Hani hitting on just about everybody, getting the right clicks on the CM, but gets frostbitten up. The Shikuchi comes across, is going to have to time-lapse up to get himself back up to high speed. No, just doing the right clicks, doing his job, finishing off, and Clinks comes in! Oh my goodness. Almost lost his life for just a couple auto attacks that wouldn't have accomplished anything at all. That would have been extremely unfortunate. But the end result is Fnatic 4-0. Feeling very, very good about how that broke down.
So, if he wanted to, I mean, Hanny could just time-lapsed out of that frostbite, but he just sat there and took it. Says, you know what, I'm not really under too much pressure. He can take it. She just doesn't have that nuke, that same nuke that a lot of other supports around. It's why we don't see a lot of CM in competitive play. She just isn't aggressive enough for a support, and defensively she doesn't offer that much either, as opposed to, you know, like trees, living armor, stuff like that.
Yep, really, really easy to pick off as well. Like in the mid lane, I'm sure that fucking Mad doesn't feel confident whatsoever in that position. We are going to see Slark come up top. This could be an opportunity to bring Era down. He still has Phase and Fest, all these tools at his disposal, but if Slark is very, very careful about his positioning, there's a good chance that he could use Silent as bait to try to bring him down. But for right now, Era is falling back, knowing who is missing indeed. And it looks like Slark's just going to have to make the transition back towards mid.
Yeah, this is a bit of an issue. And he's run past the top and realised there's nothing there. So, well, in terms of wards, so he knows he can get past, like, he can go past there at any point in time. He's going to look for no, he's thinking about it. There we go, he's going to pounce, just misses there. Hanny ducking back there in time, realising what was up. I don't think he would have got the kill regardless. I mean, it's only a level. The problem is Dark Pact is only level 1, so his burst damage there is not great, and Hanny can still go invisible there. And oh wow, okay, he's also got the Medallion of Courage that does a lot of bonus damage now. His auto attacks.
Yeah, it's a really, really important pickup for this lineup in general. We were previously talking about like the benefit of the negative armor from Vengeful Spirit, combining the Wave of Terror with like Alchemist Spray and stuff like that. But in this case, the only negative armor they have is going to be a Desolator mid game, and right now early game is going to be the Medallion. So good pickup for them, is going to allow them to be very aggressive, and No Tail can still go for his favorite build, maxing out Wave of Terror first. On mid lane, Hani doesn't have time left, just gets bursted down. They didn't have a Sentry Ward in place, didn't need it, as they just lock him down with the Frostbite, the Nova, and the damage coming in from Slark. So nicely done. They do get a pick off on a very key hero, their first of the day.
I didn't actually notice him use the time lapse earlier, but yeah, putting that on cooldown did allow him to be caught out fairly easily there. Yeah, I'm just going to say, the bottom lane though, are they going to see a rotation here? The Radiant are moving down the bottom lane, going to try and set up some ganks. However, the Dire do have wards up. Doesn't matter though, the Dire are going to try and move in. There we go, Pounce misses, that's a whiff there. A lot of damage there on Fly, and there we go, Song of the Siren, Buzzkill. Although Chakra, they might actually try and re-engage him. Maybe no, they decided not to. But yeah, I mean, there we go, Buzzkill from Chakra, and those wards, always good stuff there.
Yeah.
Gonna get counter-warded though.
Era forcing out a regen rune on the Bat Rider up on the top lane, but yeah, he can bottle and tranquil all he wants. Era is the one that's going to stay in this lane. He really can't be unseated in this position. But yeah, the popping of the Song of Siren down on bottom was very, very necessary in that position, with Slark being just so aggressive, and they really didn't have the resources to rotate Weaver once more. He doesn't have a TP scroll, and he didn't have any way of getting one anytime soon. So, and meanwhile, he can just put pressure on the mid, and they can fall back from there. The only thing that's lost is a very substantial cooldown.
Just waiting to see what Era goes for. I'm kind of expecting to go with the Armlet next, just sort of standard stuff. The only thing that, I mean, normally we see, like, Nakes have to, like, he gets paired up with some kind of mobility here. Meanwhile, in mid lane, Clink's trying to go toe-to-toe with Hanny. I think he can actually win this. Barely. Oh, actually, no, where he's going to win walk again. Decides not to gun for it. Hanny opting to time lapse there, rather. Just to heal up a little bit. Clinks might have needed to switch to strength.
Down on bottom, Rise is almost dropped down, but it's actually going to be No Tail and Trixie on the run. Fortunately for them, Slark didn't have much mana at his disposal, so that next pounce he wasn't confident in, and as such, they're just going to let them walk away. No deaths yet, but there is Hani stalking up. If he went down into the trees, he would find some very, very low HP heroes, but not too certain about this position here. Instead, they're just going to go and try to force them out with some Illuminates. I really think that they should just be illuminating down towards the tower right now to try to fish for a kill opportunity. Either way, right now, they do get vision onto Slark. He does not have mana for his ultimate, but is able to pounce down to the south and keep himself up and active.
I think he made the right choice pouncing around and trying to use his ult regardless, just because, well, there's a Sentry Ward right there in the lane. And I mean, he's probably figured out that that lane is infested with Sentry Wards. He's already twice, like, he's gone down there and it's been Sentry Wards waiting to try and fight him. Now, top lane, though, Silent taking a lot of damage. It's going to try and go off the grid. Should be able to get away there just in time. manages to walk off the map there, just going to harass back with some sticky napalms to try and get some control back. They still have that the ward down there that needs to get counter-warded. It's limiting their mobility somewhat. But it looks like Hanny now, rotating, checks top room, finds nothing. 12-minute room is not bottom either. Somebody's already grabbed it up. Another port back into the bottom lane, though. Slark is back here, and he's getting spotted up by this rune. This ward in just about a second, I think. Yeah. There he is, spotted up. Does he realize he was seen, though?
That's the key aspect there, but unfortunately for them, they're not finding the kills that they're looking for, and Slark is one of those heroes that you really need to find those kills very active and early. I'm not saying that if they don't get a dozen kills in the next 10 minutes that they're screwed, but they're not in a great position here. Now No-Tail is joining the fight up on top. This might be Silence Death, finally feeding the kill opportunity. Just one little magic missile, all it takes to actually secure this pesky little Batrider who's been just thwarting Era time and time again, but finally meets his own demise. Now we do see with the tier 1 tower having been denied by the Clinks, Hani has been aggressively pushing out towards this tier 2, not putting any damage on in yet, but has forced out a rotation and a lot of little 1 versus 1 matchups, which with the time lapse, Weaver's more than happy to be able to take away. Unfortunately, didn't with that last swarm, doesn't have the mana for the time lapse, and did actually take quite a bit of harassment damage right there.
Yeah, well, he got frozen underneath the tower, so he wasn't able to do a whole lot with it. That said, Crystal Maid's still playing very defensively. She's quite worried about getting picked off. That negative armor is such a huge factor against her, starting with such a little armor there. Looks like Slark, though, rotating a bit, going to try and help put some pressure on him. He's going to back up, though. And meanwhile, though, Era still working steadily towards that armor that has already picked up Rum as well. Bottom lane, though, they are going for a potential kill here. Another ward gets tossed out. They're going to try and get him out of trouble. Illuminate comes through, just shaves his backside, and Clinks will manage to walk away just barely. That said, he's right about halfway done with his Orchid there. So, I mean, that's something we've got to watch out for. That said, it's not been as quick. That's actually, no, wow, that is actually a pretty damn fast farm.
Not bad. He
has actually opened up with 2 Wraith Bands, though, and Treads, which has slowed it down a little bit.
So, push comes down on the bottom tier 1. They're going to be able to knock this down in a moment. I don't think Clinks can go for another Wonder deny, especially at his current HP. He's just going to go in the jungle. But yeah, he's not doing bad at all. 85 CS, topping it out, and also the net worth. He's in line with the Lifestealer, who was pretty much destroying Batrider constantly. Speaking of, up top, we do see him going and forcing Funzy back once more. But yeah, I'm not exactly sure what Funzy expects to accomplish. Like, especially if Era has continuous vision on him, Funzy can't really hold up against him. Another open wounds will come out. He's going to force Funzy's pounce, and not Funzy misclicking is going to have to pop off his ultimate as well. So he's pretty much out of commission up on the top lane, and Era just keeps on farming undisrupted.
Here's a question. Have you seen Funzy play a lot of Slark? Because I'm going to be honest, he seems a bit on tilt with him and hasn't landed. Like, he's been missing a lot of pounces.
No, I actually have not seen him play it once. Maybe something that he's picked up occasionally, but definitely not obviously something that he is very, very familiar with.
Yeah, I mean, that's big. Like, I mean, it's like playing Run. If you don't land those pounces, it's really difficult to get a good Slark game off. And he has definitely been missing quite. Like, he's been missing, not by much, but I mean, a miss is a miss. There's no near misses. It's just you miss or you hit.
So Nagasaran going for what I believe is another Lincoln's up against the Batrider. That seems to be the most common item of choice. But by delaying, actually, I'm not even sure what I'm hearing right now. Going in as Slark is not just farming. Never mind. Sorry, but I get distracted easily. Right now up on top, Era is going to be knocking down the tower really, really quickly.
Actually, Weaver's getting picked off.
Oh, if there's...
Well, Blink, I mean, Batrider's just got his Blink, and it just literally just blinked in on Weaver, and then nailed him with a lasso, so not much he could do there. And Weaver, of course, being so weak in terms of health pool, because, I mean, he has he's sitting on int treads, and doesn't really have a whole lot of health to his name, just got burst down really quickly. Bottom lane, though, Nagasaran, Buzzkill down here, Flame Break goes in, Reptile does a lot of damage, but it looks like Goblak in some trouble there. Beanscript, though, goes down, and now it looks like they will lose the Clinks. However, they do end up trading there for the Vengeful Spirit. Obviously, the better kill they're going against the Clinks.
When Manchester comes up, Trixie can go in and go for an ensnare, but instead just popping off his negative armor. He's going for the Riptide, and allows Era to get the kill anyways. Keeper Light will fall underneath the tower, however, and Funzy's in to try to clean this up. Era in a rough patch. Is going to go for the TP. No, it's not going to work out for him. Too much damage coming forward. That's a triple kill for Funzy. Desperately needed that, and now he's in a pretty good position to stay active and just keep right-clicking away. I'm curious to see what he does with the gold he just acquired, sitting on almost 2,200. Could go for a Drum, a Yasha, moving towards his BKB. I mean, there are a lot of different ways to build him up early on. but they definitely have that Orchid covered with the Clinks, who's going to be having that in no time at all.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what he decides to go for. Still sitting on... oh, still sitting on that 2,000 gold. Decides not to spend it up yet. Port's top. Weaver now just going to send out the bugs there. A lot of damage on... Look at that damage just come ripping out, and it loses 300 health in the space of a couple of seconds there. Now Batrider blinks in. It was bait, and there we go. That's pretty much what happened to him last time. The blink on the Batrider, and this is what we mean about the rotations. As soon as these two heroes start rotating, so many problems for Fnatic to have to deal with.
Yeah, so now I'm not exactly too sure where Fnatic decides to go from here. I mean, they're going to have the armlet on the Lifestealer, and I think they really need to put emphasis on that. How much damage he can really do is going to be a prime decider in how these teamfights break down pretty quickly. So I think Trixie's happy to be able to pick up the Ultimate Orb for the Lincolns and get some survivability out of that, but they're mostly going to be relying on Lifestealer to carry this game away. So the big thing right now is survive, survive, survive. The Orchid is up on Goblak, and of course the Slark has always been on the prowl, so they really just need to make sure that they're not getting picked off individually and that they're able to fight as a team.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Fnatic, like, neither team really has huge team fight. Excuse me. Neither team has, like, massive, like, overwhelming team fight potential here, like, with the huge wombo combos. I mean, the only real one here, obviously, is the Illuminate being set up by Sleep, but even then, it's not that amazing. Whereas on Quantic side, they have more individual lockdown and pick-off. I think that'll definitely help out a bit, but of course, they are up against the Rage, which is somewhat difficult to shut down, as well as the fact, excuse me, as well as the fact if they're trying to lock down someone in particular, they can always swap the Battle Danger. There is that.
Oh, Lasso.
And now blink in, and wow, Lasso as well, but Bat gets locked out there. Leap goes in, but misses. The pounce, no good there. A Sentry Wall goes down as well, going to spot him up, and Bunzy does not have his mobility here that he most usually won. However, Vengeful Spirit's still getting picked off there, and now it looks like they're chasing after Fly. Fly might go down. Yes, he gets snapped there by the damage amp. Of course, the Orchid is done there on Clinks, and this is where it gets dangerous for Fnatic. Without that Orchid, Behani, he is so vulnerable, just getting jumped by Clinks and then getting destroyed.
That was really, really cool to see from Quantic. They had the smoke up, Silent blinks in, lassos him down on the ground, but Fnatic actually responded in a very interesting way. They got the ensnare off, locking Batrider in position, and then immediately No-Tail got the defensive swap up. They made sure that they kept their more important heroes alive. Unfortunately, that did cost No-Tail his life as he was stuck down there in the pit with the Slark. Now